Hello, welcome to the June energy reading. My name is Melanie Santos. I am a mind, body, spirit, and energy well-being educator, Kundalini yoga teacher, and multidisciplinary healer, and someone who's just really interested in educating and exploring and showing you how we should really be grateful and curious about all the nuances that we hold as spirits incarnate, as spirits living in human bodies. I'm gonna just let my hair do what it does. I hope it's not too distracting. I see that it's like doing its own thing. We're just gonna let it do what it does. I am so excited about this reading because this is my season. This is Gemini season. My birthday is actually in a few days as I'm recording this. And I'm just always so excited to peek into the energy of June because June is so special to me personally. I am a Gemini sun, Cancer moon, and Cancer rising. So all of June for me is like amazing. It's amazing energy. It's like, it feels celebratory. It more than anything feels open. And that's what I kind of want to get into before we get into the cards. Let's get into Spitfire. What are the astrological placements that are happening this June? Really quickly, June 3rd, we had Mercury entering Gemini. So this is the planet of communication entering Gemini, which is the sign of communication. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So it's sign of communication and curiosity and duality. You know, Gemini is represented by the twins. On June 6th, which is my birthday, we have a new moon in Gemini. What a freaking birthday blessing. We have a new moon in Gemini, which is, again, new moons are ripe for creating anew, setting intentions to bring energy into your life. And so setting intentions for a new moon in Gemini could look like, how do I need to open my mind, open my perspective, thinking about calling things in with curiosity, trying new things, communicating easier, all that jazz. June 8th, Mars is entering Taurus. This is the sign, this is the planet, Mars is the planet of action and even rage and war in Taurus, which is this very earthly, grounded sign of practicality and luxury and money and relationships. June 16th, Venus, planet of money, love, relationships, connections, entering Cancer, which is the mother sign ruled by the moon. June 20th, it's Cancer season, also my season. More my season than Gemini season because I have a Cancer stellium. Anybody else? Which means I have a shitload of planets in Cancer. Cancer season begins, but also it's the summer solstice, which means it's the first day of summer, brightest day of the year, first day of summer for us in the Northern Hemisphere, first day of winter for y'all in the summer in the Southern Hemisphere. But for us in the Northern, summer solstice is one of the most powerful days of the year. Both the solstices and the equinoxes are just immense portals for creating anew and stepping into a new chapter, really a whole entirely new book in your life. And so don't take June 20th for granted, especially because we're also beginning Cancer season. This is an opportunity for you to think of, we're stepping into the season of like the mother. How do you need to mother your life? How are you meant to truly nurture and mother yourself into this next season, up into this next echelon? June 21st, we have a full moon in Capricorn. Full moons are ripe for releasing, for letting go. And then Capricorn is the sea goat that just can do it all. Swim in the ocean and climb the mountain. Action. And so something to think about as we step into the full moon. And then on June 29th, we start a Saturn retrograde in Pisces. I don't have a great relationship with Saturn, just because Saturn is this planet of like restriction and time and karma. And as somebody who's just like, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Cancer, I'm up in the air, I'm really mothering, and it just feels very restrictive. So to have a Saturn retrograde in Pisces, I'll let you turn to your favorite astrologers to look at the details of all of that. But that's sort of like the rundown of what's going on this month. Let me wait for the siren to pass. The cosmic movement that I really want to talk about before we get into the energy reading is Jupiter in Gemini. I know you've probably seen it everywhere. Let me light this incense. You've probably seen it everywhere. Jupiter in Gemini, biggest transit of the year, and it really is one of the biggest. Don't tell me that this died on me. This always dies on me on camera. So Jupiter in Gemini is huge. And it's because Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance and expansion. We have a lot of astrologers talking about it, a lot of people in general just talking about Jupiter and Gemini, but they're only, I feel like, looking at it from one perspective. And a lot of what we're going to talk about in this video is perspective. Jupiter is this planet of abundance and luck and expansion. More than anything, it's going to expand any area of your life that it touches. And then as it reaches Gemini, the sign of duality and curiosity and communication and creativity, it's going to expand upon those themes in your life depending on what astrological house Gemini rules in your birth chart. By this point, if you've watched a lot of these videos, if you've watched all of these videos, thank you for joining me every month. But by this point, you should be familiar with like what your birth chart looks like, the fact that it has 12 different sections, and the fact that each section of that pie is ruled by a specific sign. You just have to look at the number and look at the sign that's ruled by it. For instance, I have Gemini in the 12th house of behind the scenes, of spirituality. And so these are all things that are coming up for me now, for me to be curious about, for me to open my perspective about. So as you look at your astrological house that is ruled by Gemini, also just think, these are the themes, these are the topics that I am meant to truly be curious about, expand my perception about, look into, shift in any ways that are going to serve my highest and greatest good. And so that when they serve my highest and greatest good, I can then serve the highest and greatest good of the world, of the collective, of everybody who I touch and I'm connected to, which is everyone in existence and everything in existence. When I sat down with my cards, talking to my spirit guides, I like to ask them just before I get into any type of reading, is there anything that I need to know, that I need to communicate to a client, or in this case to y'all? And they said to talk about perspective, which totally aligns with, Jupiter and Gemini and a lot of the cosmic placements that are happening right now, because there's a lot of Gemini energy. And again, Gemini season, Gemini energy is one of curiosity. And I love that, because people talk about spirituality and they don't talk about the importance of being curious, the importance of perspective. You cannot have a true relationship with spirituality, a true connection to your spiritual self, if you do not have a connection to your curiosity. There's just no way. Be curious. People often want set rules and regulations as to how to practice something. I just talked about this in my new Cosmic Rituals video, which you should definitely check out. If you're here from my old new and full moon ritual videos, this is the mega update to that, where I'm talking about the sun, the moon, equinoxes, solstices, eclipses, the significance, the spiritual significance and the meaning of them, and what we can do with their energy to harness their energy for our transformation and for our evolution. People often want set rules and regulations and guidelines and boxes. They want their spirituality to be put into pretty little boxes, for it to be broken down in a way that can be understood by the human mind. And it's like, no. To me, it's very colonial thinking. It's like needing to be in control. And what I mean by colonial thinking is like, many of us, our cultures, our ancestry, we come from very colonized control, colonized perspective, and much of the world is under the colonial patriarchal thumb still, and that spans the gamut. That type of control, that type of energy spans the gamut. It really has infiltrated every part of our lives, and even spirituality. And so I urge you to expand your mind when it comes to the way that you practice, the way that you pray. If you go to church, the way that you go to church, the way that you worship God, Spirit, Mother, Jesus, like whoever it is that, you look up to in terms of spirituality, in terms of an energetic perspective on how to live your life. Expand it, and live it in your own way. I get so many questions about intuition, and people say, oh, Melanie, when are you going to have an intuitive development course? It's coming. But to me, it's like, the key to intuitive development and really being connected with yourself as a spirit is curiosity. is not being afraid to explore, is not being afraid to ask questions, to see things from another perspective. And so as we're getting into this reading, which I'm going to start with the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck, I want you to really think about perspective and curiosity and how you how you want to challenge yourself to think about things in a different way. Think about your life, the way that you are living, the way that you are living or not living intentionally. Shift your perspective. Shift your perspective. Live through a different perspective. Communicate through a different perspective. This month of June, where we have so many amazing, huge, powerful planets in Gemini, which is again about communication, is about communicating, and not just how you are verbally communicating with others, but how are you energetically communicating in your own life. And so let's pull the first message from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. Okay, just like that, we have our first card, and it came up upside down, which for me means emphasis and also shifting our perspective. And the card is the Goddess Pele, Divine Passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? Talk about perspective. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? Divine Passion. Immediately, this is affirming what I'm talking about in terms of perspective. What perspective do you have of yourself in your life? Think about the perspective that you have of yourself and your life. Think about your daily routines, the things that you do, the people that you talk to, all the things, people, places that are in connection to you. This is kind of like, get a piece of paper if you can this week, today, if you can, and like draw a little diagram. Put yourself in a circle in the middle and draw almost like a Venn diagram. That's what it is, right? Teachers, let me know. It's a Venn diagram or a spider chart. I forget. Draw little lines and draw everything, write down everything that's in connection to you. Your family, your partner, your job, your friends, your health, your whatever, all the things that are in connection to you and what your perspective about these things are. How much passion is in those connections? How much passion is in those connections? How much of your true essence, your true passion, the things that you cannot stop thinking about every single day, the things that are at your core, the things that you are truly passionate about, how much do you inject that into your daily routines, into your connections? Lots of sirens today, which is always like, pay attention to what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to pause. I'm just going to let them keep going. But think about passion. Think about passion. This month, we're being guided not to go into and start acting on our passion, but truly think. This is a month for thinking. It's really, really ripe for thinking. Lots of mental activity, lots of dreams, lots of daydreams, lots of curiosity, lots of creativity. And so as we're stepping from Gemini season into Cancer season, where we're meant to mother ourselves, right? And think about how we're meant to mother our ideas in this new life. How are we meant to rebirth ourselves? If we do rebirth yourself, if you do rebirth yourself, right, into this version of yourself that you just dream of being, how can you inject more passion into your life? What are the things that you need to drop with this upcoming full moon in Capricorn, which is again the sea goat, up and down and in the river and up the mountain and can do it all, but like you don't need to be doing everything. And so what do you need to release in order for you to have sustainable passion? Sustainable. Think about sustainability, because a lot of people make moves and like introduce new ideas and new things into their life, and it's just not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. It can't be kept for the long run. And we should really be thinking about sustainability, especially now more than ever, the way that the world is turning. A lot of what I've been talking about as a spiritual teacher online, as we are continuing to see, I think we're at 8 months of genocide in Gaza, being inflicted on Gaza by Israel, by the IDF, is sustainable advocacy, sustainable fight for humanity. We can't just be out there screaming into the void, because eventually we're going to lose our throat. And so what does that look like for you? Sustainable advocacy in the world. And I want you to also think about, what does that look like for you? Sustainable advocacy for your own life. What does it look like for you to advocate for your passion? What does it look like for you to advocate for yourself? Have that conversation with yourself that says, hey, we're happy, so let's keep doing this. Or we're not happy, so let's reevaluate. What are we doing that's not working? What can we call in with this new moon in Gemini on June 6th? And what can we release with this full moon in Capricorn that I'm forgetting the date for now? With this full moon in Capricorn that is on June 21st. Right aligning with the solstice, summer solstice. We've got some really potent energetic portals, some really potent energetic opportunities to shift. So if you're somebody who has been feeling stuck or drained, this is your opportunity. Please don't forfeit your position in your own life. There are many of you who are praying for alleviation and doing nothing to alleviate your own position. There's a lot of curiosity to be had. There's a lot of creativity, lots of creative energy that we can harness at this time from the sun, the moon, all these planets working in our favor. There's no way that we can be floating on this floating rock in the middle of the universe with all this energy around us and not be affected by it. So think about how you want to harness this energy, because it's around and it's for you. It's for you, and not for yours for the taking, but like yours for the utilization, so that you can be a better person on this planet. But that starts with being a better person to yourself. You need to be well resourced. You need to be living a well resourced and sustainable life. A lot of people are thinking about, oh, Jupiter and Gemini and abundance, but like, they're not resourced. There's some people that are like, I want to amass all this abundance, but they're not resourced. They're not rested. They're not sleeping well. People who are thinking about all the money that they want to make and all the riches and all the things and the stuff and the material, and they're not doing what's free. Are you sleeping well? Are you drinking enough water? Are you in community? Are you engaging, communicating what you really feel? Your passion. Passion is not sexual. Passion is not just good. Passion is not just rage. Okay, passion is also so much to do with creativity. It's energy that's being created in your mind, body, and spirit. That's passion. Are you passionate about the ways that you are taking care of yourself so that you are well rested and resourced enough to receive the abundance that you're even asking for? That's what we mean when we talk about becoming the person that is able to accept their manifestations. Okay, so divine passion coming through. I hope that made sense, because I know I was kind of all over the place, but that's the way that it was coming through. And that's the way the cookie's gonna crumble right now. Divine passion. Let's jump straight into the next card, because I have a couple decks that I want to pull from today. Let's jump into the Work Your Light Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell for our second message for June 2024. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. We have a second card came out, also upside down, which is like, hello, do you hear me? And the card is play. Talk about sustainability. Talk about sustainability. Okay, I do want to talk about this. More sirens. You hear me? Do you hear me? Spirit's like, do you hear me? I don't really even see anything going on. It's just sirens back and forth. The message is important. The message is important. The message is important. The message is coming through as play, okay? I do want to talk about this in the context of the world again, and also in our individual revolutions, because we can get stuck in either way, right? We can be in a space in our life where like it feels like nothing is going right. We have so much to do. We want to revolutionize, but we feel like we're not getting ahead. And then we're also, that's being mirrored in the world right now, right? We're going into 8 months of genocide, if we're not already in 8 months of genocide. So many other things going on. We've got Gaza, Sudan, Congo, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. We got wildfires in California. Literally, there's so much going on in the world right now. We've got the police that's supposed to be protecting, dragging people, women and children down the street for protesting and selling fruits and trying to get by. It's just humanity is disheveled, for lack of a better word, right now. It really feels like everything feels like it's upside down. And what I have been talking about, making the risk to talk about, because people just want to fight, and with good reason again. But what I have been trying to remind folks as best as I can from my corner of the internet is sustainability. This fight has to be sustainable. This fight has to be sustainable. There are a lot of people who are just now waking up to the fact that the world is a really cruel place. The world isn't a cruel place. There are people in the world that are very, very cruel and that want control and that want to harness the energies of others for their own personal gain. And people are, some people are just waking up to that. And so it's almost like waking up from this dream and being like, oh my God, I have to get going. I have to fight. And so people are going forward again, screaming into the void, losing their proverbial voices. And it's like, calm down. We got to be slow. We got to be steady. We got to speak up, but we have to take turns. We have to communicate with each other about what it is that we are going to do so that it makes sense, so that we're making sense. This is chess, not checkers. Okay? When we're talking about advocacy for humanity, we're talking about social justice, we're talking about spirituality, all these things that are very intertwined, we are playing chess, not checkers. And so we need sustainability. And so much of that has to do with rest. So much of that has to do with nourishment, and nourishment of all kinds. When we talk about divine passion, that passion can run out real slow if you don't spread it out. And if you don't take the time to play, which is our next card, play. What a beautiful reminder of sustainability, of curiosity, of creativity, and how this month it's really important as we're stepping into the summer solstice, as we're stepping into summer, period, which is like such an energetically, oh my God, why does nobody talk about the importance of summer, right? Where the sun is at its zenith, it's at its highest point, it's at its brightest. The sun, which is our main source of prana, life force energy. This is why people say when you get up in the morning, don't get straight on your phone because it's just pulling your attention. Get straight into the sun. Get at least 15 minutes of sun a day. Even if it's a cloudy day, the sun is still out. Go outside, get some sun on your skin. Because the sun is our main source of prana, life force energy. That's going to revitalize you in mind, body, and spirit. When we're doing Kundalini yoga, what we're trying to cultivate is more prana, that sun energy that lives within. Okay, and so when you think about the summer solstice, we are living amidst a season where the sun is at its brightest and at its strongest. We have the opportunity to really charge up, for all things, for play, for passion, for advocacy, for social justice. This is why in the summer we see so many of these movements get bigger, get stronger, get more powerful, because people are charged up, they're ready to go. And as we're paying attention to all these cosmic movements, Mars going into Taurus, shit's gonna be fiery, it's gonna be passionate. Jupiter and Gemini, like we have the opportunities to do both, to be passionate, but also take the time to play and rest and nourish yourself. And so in this season of being curious and of creating new energies for yourself that's sustainable, so that you have the time and energy to do all things, not just fight and not just play. There are a lot of you who are ignoring what's happening in the world completely, and shame on you truly, because you can't be watching this video without, and also not saying anything about anything, without thinking about your privilege, the privilege that you have to do this, to practice spirituality in a vacuum like this. It's not true spirituality. And so open your perspective. Be curious about what is it that's stopping you from doing certain things. There are some of you who are just fighting and just out there advocating for humanity and advocating for yourself and working hard and doing what you can for yourself and others and not playing. And there are others who are just living aloof, trying to just live the world and playing too much. Strike a balance. Life in general is just about striking a balance. And so this season, we're really meant to take a look at our perspectives. What are our perspectives? If you're not playing enough, what is it that's stopping you from that? What kind of mindsets, behaviors, and ingrained energies are keeping you from living a sustainable life. And if you are hurting or not, or just generally don't care, some people just generally don't care. They think that things that are happening in the outside world don't affect them. And it's really wild, and I'm not going to get into a whole tangent about that because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We are all connected, and also we don't want to wait until something happens to us to care. But you also want to, if you're that type of person, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. What is it that's stopping you from living in balance? Living in balance. What are your imbalances? Imbalances. Imbalances. What are your imbalances saying to you, communicating to you about the work that you need to do for yourself? More sirens, more sirens, more sirens, more calls for you to pay attention. For all of us, a question that we should all be asking as we're considering our passions and our play, passion and play. What are your imbalances communicating to you about the work that needs to be done in your life? What are your imbalances communicating to you about the work that needs to be done in your life? And how can you use curiosity and creativity and communication to remedy those imbalances? So beautiful, can't even deal. Let's go into the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. And let's see, third message for June 2024. Okay, we had a card. Cannot make this up. The card is the Sun. The card is the Sun. Y'all know that I don't read from these decks, but this one I always I have to pick up and read from. It's just too good. And I'm just curious to see because, hello, I'm not even going to say anything because didn't we just talk about this? The Sun, new beginnings, great creativity. This Sun, the Sun brings blessings to the earth, and this card portends blessings in your own life as well. Just as the Sun nurtures the earth, bringing new life in the spring and summer, this is your time for a new beginning, the onset of a nurturing new light in your life, the light of divine inspiration and personal growth. This card often marks a time of great creativity, bringing the culmination of an important new project, such as the birth of a baby, or the writing of a publication or a book, or even the birth of a new you. Now is the time to put your energy into expressing your truth and vision. Visualize a light of divine love pouring into your heart and mind like the rays of the sun, bringing inspiration, growth, and abundant blessings. See the future you want to create and know that the sun is shining on your intentions now. I mean, do we even need to say anything? Do we even need to say anything about the sun? Like I just told you, this is such an important time. I love these readings because honestly, as a clairvoyant person who has very, very strong connection with their clear senses, I hold alignment sessions, one-on-one sessions, if you ever want to book a reading with me. I could easily just sit in front of you and give you the whole energy reading for June on my own without pulling cards. But the cards offer confirmation so that you believe me. They offer confirmation. I'm offering you the messages before they're popping up. Because it's true. And it's so important for us to somehow, if you're sitting here, I'm glad that this is a resource for you to tap into guidance. But we should all be somehow tapping into our guidance every single month. And so I'm honored. I just say that to say that I'm honored to be able to do this with you. But yeah, man, this is such an important time. Creativity and curiosity, play, passion, and the sun is guiding us. Please, please, please use the energy of the sun. We all take it for granted. We go out, people only go out, they spend the whole day in a cold, dark office, and then they go out and they do happy hour, right? And what is that doing? I want to talk about this real quick because what is that doing? Oh, I want to enjoy the sun. Let's go drink. Okay, I love a drink as much as the next person. Shout out to anybody who has chosen sobriety. Love that for you. I definitely go long periods of time where I'm sober throughout the year. And right now is my season to have a little drink or two. And I get it. I love the taste of a margarita. But what you're doing Before you do that, first of all, protect yourself, cleanse your energy, because alcohol, what it does is dull your aura. Your protective coating, your satellite layer through which you project energy and project your intentions and project, yourself into the universe, what you want, is being dulled. And so your energy is being dulled, your projection and your protection is being dulled. And so when you're sitting in the sun drinking, not only is that super dangerous, but like you're not getting the full effect of what you're out there to do. And so I encourage you this summer, I don't know why this is coming up, but it's coming up. I encourage you to spend time in the sun sober, drink water, maybe switch to like a fruit drink or something. Lots of noises outside. Choose sobriety if you can, more days out of the week than you normally do. There's just such a highlight on holistically accepting the opportunities that are out there for us to expand and evolve, because we have no more time to waste as a collective of human people. There's just such an urgency to get back to our roots, passion, play, the sun. Like, you know how basic of a need the sun is? This is not talking about money like some of our other readings have. This is not talking about work. This is talking about resting and playing and getting back to your core. This is basic needs. And so ask yourself, what are your imbalances telling you about the work that you need to do to get back to your roots? What do your roots even mean? What kind of relationship do you have with your roots? More sirens. I'm not going to stop. We're just going to keep going. So as we step foot into the end of an era, really, what eras are you ending for yourself? And what eras are you truly intending to begin? As we're considering and being curious and projecting positive intentions for rebirth, what does that mean? Who do you really want to be rebirthed as? Not somebody who works too hard or somebody who's constantly worried, somebody who lives a passionate, intentional life. And as you're rebirthing and stepping into this new life, how can you truly make it sustainable? Inject more play, more rest, more nourishment, more time in the sun. Okay? Let's get into our fourth card coming from the Moon deck. These are very earthy cards, very spiritual cards. So I'm curious to see what our fourth message for June 2024 is. Okay. All of our cards have come up upside down, except for the Sun card. That's something, huh? This card also came up upside down. Wow. And it's, I welcome clear vision and inspired action. That's a new moon intention for you. I welcome clear vision and inspired action. And pay attention to the animal archetype that's here, which is an eagle. I'm going to paste in the description box my favorite spirit animal description website. It's such a janky little website. It really is, but it's have served me for like 10 plus years when it comes to animals that I see out in the real world or through my clear senses. Sometimes I'm in meditation or I'm in a session with a client and an animal pops up and I don't know what the animal meeting means, so I look it up on this website. And this is from someone who has like spirit animal books and all that jazz. I always end up turning back to this website, so I'm curious to see what the significance of an eagle is. But this is a new moon intention that we should all be setting. I welcome clear vision and inspired action, which is what we need right now, right? Because some of us watch these readings and we get readings, even we spend a lot of money on readings and we pull our own cards and we know what the energy is. We know we're getting the guidance, we're receiving it. We see the messages in the street, we see them in our daily life, we see the repeating numbers and we do nothing. And I'm saying we to be inclusive. I am very intentional. about my messages and the way that I live my life. If I happen to see a number, angel number, a triple number, a number that means a lot to me on the street, a message in graffiti, a billboard that immediately calls my attention that I know is a spirit message for me, I'm going to take a second to think about, why am I getting this message right now in this point in time? Not just in this point in time in my life, but right now in this moment. What was I thinking about? Who's around me? What am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I coming from? Why am I getting this message? And what is it confirming for me? In order for me to continue to live my life as an inspired person, as an intentional person. Because that's really all it is. All these signs and synchronicities is guidance. It's almost like stop signs, go signs, signs that you would see on the street, except they're spiritual. It's guidance from our spiritual guides telling us that we're either going the wrong way or we're going the right way, and we need to make this turn and pay attention to this instead. And so as we consider curiosity and play and perspective, and we really have the chance as the summer solstice comes in, as we're in Gemini season, shifting into Cancer season, getting this opportunity to truly mother ourselves, rebirth, literally give birth to ourselves anew, how are we going to take inspired action based on the goals and the life that we truly see for ourselves? When you set your new moon intentions, when you release your full moon intentions with this new moon in Gemini and this full moon in Capricorn, think about yourself and truly embody, feel it through your senses. What is it going to feel like in this new life? I have an amazing meditation for you that I'm going to link in the description box as well, that you can use for this. In case you can use it in tandem with your new or full moon rituals, or you can use it instead of it. But it's just truly powerful, because not only am I explaining embodiment, but it's a guided meditation that takes you on a journey to embody your new life. Okay, as sensory beings, as highly sensitive sensory beings, we have the opportunity to connect with the energy that we want and truly build a life straight from our senses. And so when you're setting these intentions, when you're doing this meditation, what is it going to feel like to embody what your new life is going to feel like, smell like, look like, sound like? What is it going to feel like? Because that's what's going to help you take inspired action. It's almost like you're embedding the energy in your cells and you have no choice. You've already felt it. And so now you have no choice but to bring it into fruition. It's creating the bridge for this cosmic leap into this new life. People always want to talk about these high terms, and Melanie, can you talk about timeline jumping, and can you talk about manifestation in terms of quantum leaps? Baby, it's so easy. It is literally just embodiment, and that's a problem for many people, especially marginalized people, because we have been put in positions through our ancestry and through time that have put us under such stress that we are now, many of us, disembodied. We can't even be in our physical body without either feeling discomfort or not even understanding what's going on within our bodies. And even when we do turn to others to support us, be it medical doctors, be it any type of support, we're often not heard. And so I urge you, as somebody who has been and is still very much on the journey to live an embodied, intentional life, I urge you to do whatever you can to be curious about how you can become more embodied. What does disembodiment mean to you? Because we're all disembodied in some type of way. And maybe you're not. Maybe you're already doing the work and you've done it and you feel like you're good. What kind of tips or offerings do you have for the collective? Leave them in the comments. What have you done that has helped you? More sirens. I just realized I was in a zone. More sirens. More a call for us to pay attention to what's happening in this reading. But yeah, there have been a lot of reflection prompts that I've offered in this video, and one of them is definitely to think about, again, how are my imbalances communicating to me the work that I need to do to be a more embodied and intentional person, so that I can take action, inspired action, on my goals, on the life that I truly envision for myself. And have grace with yourself. If you are somebody who has experienced trauma of any kind, if you're holding in your body the trauma of your parents, your ancestors, have grace with yourself. because you have been put here to break patterns beyond your human perception. Beyond your human perception. And that is no easy feat. And what it's going to take is daily commitment, daily dedication, daily recommitment, every day recommitting to this journey of being a spirit in a human body, of living a truly embodied life. Because you can say, fuck it, to hell with everybody. I'm just going to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to eat. I'm going to work. I'm going to make money. I'm going to pay for shit. And I'm going to go to sleep. And it's the way that many people live. And maybe they'll take a vacation here and there. And they think that that's happiness and it's joy. It's not what we're meant for. And yes, I'm not going to say that when you're awakening, it's not painful. It is, because you get to see the truth of everything all the time. And it feels like a heavy burden. But then begins a true journey of learning how to live a sustainable life, of learning how to bear witness, true witness to everything, the joy, the beauty, and also the injustices and the pain, and assume your position as a spirit incarnate, as somebody with unique gifts, with a unique perspective, whether that perspective comes from trauma or it comes from talent. You have something very unique, a unique light to give to the world. And so, all that to say, this is just such amazing, beautiful, new, regenerative energy, okay, for June. I don't think I've ever felt like this about a reading this year. It just feels brand new and fresh and just an opportunity for us to truly shift. We've been doing a lot of talking, a lot of moving, a lot of like shifting around, and now we truly have the opportunity to like close a book and start a new one. And so if you're writing these chapters, what are you writing? What are you envisioning? What are you embodying? And if you can't, if that feels hard for you, go beneath the surface of that. Why can't you embody? Why can't you envision? Why aren't you curious? Dive into that. That's what you're curious about. That's what you should be curious about. Be curious about why you can't be curious. Be curious about why creativity feels hard for you. Do the work. If you don't understand what that means, dedicate yourself to a 40-day Kundalini Yoga sadhana, which is one of the best ways to like cut through and reconnect with your divinity and your infinity. It like wakes you up to your creativity through chanting and mantra and movement and breath. It returns you to an embodiment in your physical body. I'll leave a link to where you could find more information about starting your first sadhana and where you can find sadhana ideas. Sadhana being the Sanskrit word for daily practice. When you commit yourself to a 40-day practice, it's like, you know how people say like it takes 21 days to break a habit or to start a new one. 40-day Kundalini Yoga sadhana, same thing. It allows you to cut through and create new mental pathways with just a minimum of like 3, 7, 11 minutes a day. And so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. I'm so grateful to have been born in this month. I'm like brimming with gratitude right now. I want to also pull a card from this deck. I have never used this in a reading ever, but it's the Sacred Self-Care Oracle by Jill Pyle, who's the CEO and co-founder of Goddess Provisions. I remember when I was first starting out, they sent me a PR package full of goodies, and look at them. This is actually a really old deck, but it's one of my favorites. And so I'm just going to pull 3 cards to see what kind of self-care are we guided to focus on this month, as we're being guided to like play and rest and nourish, and also question and communicate with ourselves honestly about what are we doing? What are we doing? July, the end of June and beginning of July marks the middle of the year. I don't want to see anybody talking about June is the middle of the year because it's the 6th month. No, the end of the 6th month. Okay, let's come correct. As we come to the middle of the year, what are we doing? And so a lot of that has to do with how we're caring for ourselves too. So let's see. 3 types of self-care. Okay, we have 2 cards already that just flipped out. And we have a 3rd. That's interesting. First one, upside down, which means hello. This is the one that you need to pay attention to, is rest. Can't make it up. The first one was rest. Second one, nourish your temple, which is your physical body, talking about embodiment. nourish your temple. And the third one is interesting. It's watch a movie. It's watch a movie, which I think is really interesting as we talk about perspective, right? Because movies offer us, I love movies. Let me know if you're a movie buff as well. I'm not a movie buff, but I love a good movie. As somebody who is a highly sensitive person, who is an empath, I can like drown in a movie, right? And feel all the emotions that the actor is portraying. And so I think if we choose movies wisely, and I say that it's an important thing. Choose a movie wisely. Don't go watch a horror movie because then you're like ingraining all that energy in you. Choose your movies wisely, especially if you're talking about and you're thinking about shifting your perspective. If you want to get into something or you're curious about something, watch a movie, a film, or documentary on that topic. Expand your perspective on that topic through a movie. But movies are great when it comes to perspective because they allow you to pour into the life of somebody else, somebody else's perspective. What can you take from that? What don't you like? What do you want to leave behind? What kinds of truths is this film offering you? There are so many movies that you can watch when it comes to, if you're curious about like movies to watch on your spiritual awakening. There's so many people creating content about that. So I encourage you to go look for that on Instagram. I've seen so many of those types of videos on TikTok, and please come back and share with the community in the comments. Like if you have any recommendations for movies. I'm even starting to think of like what movies are coming out this month that I'm super interested in. The only movie that I'm looking forward to is Inside Out 2. Mom of a 6-year-old, but also Inside Out is such a beautiful, beautiful movie that I wish I had when I was younger. As a little girl who was experiencing anxiety and depression, I wish I would have had a movie that depicted feelings and emotions in this way. Anyway, what a beautiful reading. I hope that you feel the urgency and the call to truly honor yourself in the ways that you need to this month, because there's just so much. There's just so much to do and undo. So much amazing opportunity to rebirth in alignment with who you really want to be, to rebirth sustainably. I want to emphasize that, rebirthing yourself sustainably, sustainable rebirth. Because yes, while we're meant to rebirth ourselves over and over in our lives, if you're rebirthing yourself every year, that's a problem, my love. That may be a problem. Why do you feel the need to constantly change? It's exhausting to have to reform your foundations all the time. And so, sustainable rebirth. How can you make this rebirth more sustainable so that it's something that lasts? If it's something that's truly in alignment with your essence, with your soul, with your spirit, with what you crave in life, what you crave to build for yourself, what you crave to build for the world. How can you communicate your passions in a way that would align you with exactly what you need? Because we are being aligned with exactly what we need, but sometimes it takes us communicating it or being able to accept it in a certain way. Thank you for tuning into this reading. I am now so excited for us to live in June, for us to go through this new moon, this full moon in Capricorn. Welcome Cancer season and the summer solstice. Let me know in the captions what you think, what aligned with you, what felt really poignant to you in this reading. And I'll see you for the July energy reading. Crazy. See you then.